June 9th, 2018. Got some big changes in the garden from last year. Made some of the beds larger. We put up some chicken wire to keep the woodchucks from eating all my crops again. So this is pretty much the same. We painted the house so the rose bush got trimmed back. And the house painted last year. The purple allium's already passed. Our hostas are here. Some bee balm that will come up later. Nice white rose here. In the blue barrel I've got some borage flowers trying to grow. I'm not sure how well they're doing. We'll see. And the Egyptian onions. Some plum tomatoes in a barrel here. Hostas. This is a dark blue Rose of Sharon bush. Very nice flowers on it. In the late summer. Some wood chips for the mulching the garden. Some white Siberian iris. And our blueberries, just 2 blueberry bushes, but they'll be ripening soon, a few more weeks. And around the white Rose of Sharon, there's raspberries are spreading out. They're even coming up in the lawn, but I'm going to let them grow. We're going to get a pretty good yield. There's a nice honeybee. And they've gotten a lot bigger. Got daisies growing through the grass here. And the dark blue Siberian iris. There's just a spare chunk of them I put in here. Some purple phlox. This is the May apple, which is, I think, American mandrake. It flowered a couple weeks ago, but each plant has 1 flower and 1 fruit. And then this one here, the fruit's gone, so perhaps squirrels are eating them. It's an edible fruit. I think that's a little bit of catnip right there, that plant. More of the raspberries here. So I extended the raised bed over by the bushes all the way back, narrower, where the apple tree used to be. Got a few different things in it. Some garlic along the front. And then there's a squash or a pumpkin plant that came up from the compost, the sunflower. But these are beefsteak tomato plants here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here, but I've got them several other places. Lots of tomatoes this year. These are 3 mounds of buttercup squash. It's like a butternut, but shaped more like a pumpkin, and it stays dark green. And the Indian corn I tried last year did really well, so I basically more than doubled the space for planting it. So this is already 2 feet high. It's a nice early growing corn, but we let it grow all the way to the late season for it to dry and use it as a grain for cornbread. Behind the corn there's a few squash that grew up within it, 1 sunflower here, and a row of sunflowers, and then garlic behind it, and some onions too. The new hummingbird feeder, they found that pretty quick. These are gooseneck flowers I put in a barrel, and there's a red clover came up in it. So in the center of the yard I built up a raised bed, and I got a few things in here. We put crocus and tulips and daffodils in this area, and then I put some wildflowers in here. Sunflowers, cosmos, spider flower, I forget what it's called. And back here I've got, on the left side, cucumbers, zinnia, cosmos, more cucumbers in back, more cosmos. A row of beets and 2 rows of tomatoes. Over here some basil, some potatoes, some red brandywine tomatoes, some bell peppers in these 3 barrels. And they are giant Marconi bell peppers. They grow really long. They're really big peppers, but they're nice. Over here we've got some In this tray there's some sedum, various types of sedums that Tammy planted. All different kinds. It's a really nice display. Stone crop, mystery blues. So basically you have a nice variety of succulents. They can survive the winter up there raised. They don't mind freezing. And other house plants that were brought out to try to revive them. I think there's some cucumber coming up in here, and this is actually looks like grass, but it's actually sorghum that I'm trying to see how that grows. Looks like corn when it's grown up, but it doesn't have ears on it. The seeds are up on the top tassels. So here there's a row of green beans to climb the trellis, and behind there's phlox and daisies. In the middle, some zinnias, and in the front I try to have a row of carrots that planted by seed. So once I weed that and they get bigger, you'll see them. Some flowers in here, and then again there's chicken wires everywhere because these woodchucks really loved to eat my garden last year. Green beans again, the wildflowers are kind of taken over, and another row of carrots, and in amongst the weeds there's zinnias. This is spiderwort. It's a nice flower that just opens during the daytime, and then it closes again. There's some more of it in different spots. Some more of that sorghum in a green bean. Here's some more of the spiderwort in a pot. There's some yellow trumpet lilies. Some phlox on this wheelbarrow with sedum in it. And bunny rabbit. Some display items and things. A trap to try to get that woody chuck. This here will flower soon. It's a beard tongue with a kind of a white flower. An allium, yarrow, purple coneflower here. Some sedum behind it. A row of garlic. Along the front, it's kind of a double row of garlic. And various different flowers in here. There's some bee balm in there, some sedum there, more of that beard tongue, ornamental grass, bee balm. Here's this moonbeam, bright yellow yarrow. That's nice. Hopefully that'll grow bigger. Some thyme, and come back here over to the koi pond again. Unfortunately, we lost the koi last year. The winter was exceedingly harsh. And the heater I had to keep the ice open was overpowered by the ice. So I've got some goldfish in here now. Some wild plants along the edge of the waterfall. Little tiny waterfall in the stream. Little algae growing today. We'll take care of that soon. And along the stream there's all that sedum, which is flowering now, and cattails are about 7-8 feet tall right now. Some more different plants. The grape hyacinths come out early, so they're already flowered and passed with seeds. There's some kind of African daisy or something here. Tammy planted amongst the purple coneflower, sedum, phlox, bee balm, more of that yellow lilies. Some bleeding heart plant here, and looks like the flower's already passed on there. There's what's left of a flower, heart-shaped pink flower, and the seed pods from that. This is a new plant. Tammy got it for me as a gift to mollify me from all the dog barking. But Ligularia, and it's supposed to be it grows near the water, so it was good to put it near the pond. Hopefully that'll get bigger, and it should have some nice yellow flowers on it. The blue Dutch iris is getting a little choked out by weeds and things, so I've got to dig them all up and replant them to invigorate the roots. Got a few small blueberry bushes in amongst these weeds here, and the gypsy moth caterpillars are out everywhere. And that little stone garden back here, Here's the bell, the main bell that Janet gave me one time for a gift. There were other things in here. Apparently the sedum really took over. I put some strawberries and things in there. There's a jack-in-the-pulpit in back. A clematis flower trying to climb up there. That we've had it for 10 years, but it's been weak the whole time. And thyme in front, and a strawberry there. More of the jack-in-the-pulpit, which have already flowered, and the flowers are wilting and the seed pods are developing. Here's one flower still here, just starting to wilt. And there's different things up here. There's a big froggy. In the springtime, this trillium has a nice white flower with red that's past now. The lobate leaves that are finger-like, that's the bloodroot next to it. And some woodchuck traps, trying to keep them out of the, discourage them. More of that spiderwort, some sedum here. Back here is this other herb garden. So here's the bird bath that Tammy made. Different kinds of sedum and things growing in there. It looks like there's some mustard greens growing in there amongst the flock. Onions, garlic chives in front, regular chives, garlic chives, regular chives, strawberries, a few rows of strawberries here. Now here's where last year I put that rice paddy system in, surrounded by some raised beds. And here we've got, I'm trying to grow cowpeas to see what they're like. I've never had them before. A couple of rows of kale, one from fresh seeds, and the other row we started earlier with some seedlings that are bigger. And the rice paddy area. So the rice plants, you can see they're really small over there. Kind of like just sprouts. I planted seed directly this year as opposed to planting seeds indoors and transplanting, so they're way behind schedule by planting directly, so we'll go back to planting seedlings from indoors next year. Now here's where the greenhouse used to be, so I changed it over to a couple of raised beds, and in the front raised bed here we've got a couple of kale plants, some basil, a row of tomatoes, a row of pole beans. In the front of the tomatoes, you might not see it from here, there's some carrot seedlings just coming up. Getting closer. So those are the carrot seedlings. And hopefully there's 2 rows, but only some of them came out. And this whole trellis will be covered with green beans later. Give the pathway some shade, and it'll be a nice green living wall. And the tomatoes will climb up in front of it. And some buckets, some barrels with strawberries. The middle one has potatoes. There's more with strawberries behind it. Here there's some cosmos, a little bit of dill, a row of carrots, some heirloom tomatoes, and some cipollini onions in front. But that's where the greenhouse was. Now it's all raised beds. So that was the big change for this year. I think I went around. I don't think I showed you the structure in the middle of the yard. Now this is a raised bed, but I put trellis around it for things to climb. So next to the trellis is the cucumbers, I think. I may have showed this already. But the cucumbers should climb the trellis. Cosmos behind them. Beets. Cosmos here. And 2 rows of tomatoes. So that's about it for the garden. Try to come back in a few months and show you the green, once it grows up and everything's bigger. Should be nice.